Cool. So today we are going over some of the selection tools. Now Photoshop has a variety of selection tools in their toolbar, but there are some hidden tools that you can use in order to get the best outline that is possible. So we're going to start off with the rectangular marquee tool. This tool can be used to crop photos or to move different parts of the image around. So what we can do, there's some marching ants that go around this box, which make up the outline of the selection. So now we can come over to the layer masks and click that. Now this mask can be moved by getting the move tool, selecting it in your layers, and then moving it. But you can also move the pictures by just selecting this. So now you can move that. There's also, to undo something, you could do Command Z. I did multiple, so to get that, we could do Command Z to get it back to the original. Command D deselects the object. Now there's also, under this, the elliptical marquee tool. The elliptical marquee tool does the same thing as the rectangular one, but it makes a circle or an oval. Now you'll see when you click and drag, it creates an oval, but if you want a perfect circle, all you have to do is hold down Shift. Shift makes it so it's a perfect circle. Command D to deselect. To make a rectangular marquee tool perfectly square, all you have to do is press Shift as well, and it makes a perfect square. Command D to deselect. Now there's also the selection tool brush, which goes off of like painting. It's a paintbrush to create that outline or select the subject. Now we're just going to draw just a little outline behind him, very rough and rigid. This doesn't have to be perfect because we're not doing anything with it. But all you have to do now is click on the layer masks, and now it selects what we drew. Command Z to undo, Command D to deselect. Now for the lasso tool, this is kind of like the paintbrush, but you're just drawing an outline of the subject. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, because we're not doing anything. But this tool is better for smaller objects, like I'm running out of space on my keyboard trackpad. So now we'll go to polygonal lasso tool. This is a better version of the lasso tool. This only creates straight lines. So once you click on an object, you have to keep clicking in order to add more selection lines. The problem is this line does not curve. It can only go straight. So you have to do multiple clicks in order to do that outline. See, it's a closer, tight-knit outline, but it's still not the best that it can be. And so to end it, we're just going to end this one. To end it, all you have to do is click on the end point. Now this creates a little circle right next to the lasso tool, and so when you click it, it causes your marching ants to go around the selection area. Command D to deselect, and now for our next one is the magnetic lasso tool. This one is probably the best out of all of these lasso tools because you can click and it sees the edge of the subject. It sees the different colors. And you can still click to add points. And then you just follow along the edge. This is still relatively a very rough and rigid things. And to delete points, all you have to do is press the delete buttons. And it deletes the different points if you need to redo something. And you can click and you can just keep going. Same thing, to end it, all you have to do is click the end point and it comes up with the little circle again and you can click it. Now the marching ants are around the target area. Command D to deselect. And now to move on to the next one, we'll start with the magic wand tool. This tool selects things by colors. So if I click on something white, it defines all the colors that are that same white. As you can see, these are two different shades of white, and so it did not select those. But if you press Shift, a little plus arrow comes up on your tool, and you can click that, and it selects the different whites. And you can add them to your selection. If you want more tolerance on it, up here in your panel, you can add it. So 10 is, it goes 10 shades lighter and 10 shades darker of that color. So if you were to go, let's say 50, deselect that. If your tolerance is 50 and you click on it, see how it selects the colors that it originally did not select in beforehand. And so there's that tool. Now there's also the quick selection tool, which is also like a paintbrush, but it also matters the color. So it also defines the edges. So if you were to add up here in your top, there's the add to selection and subtract to selection. You can add to your selection, and so you're painting, and it sees the edges, and so it's only going to that part. And then you can add that. But if you want to subtract something, like say this yellow back here, you can switch it to subtract up top, and then in that area, another hotkey that I haven't taught you yet is how to make your selection outline bigger or smaller. All you have to do is click on these brackets, and it would increase. So the right bracket increases the size, the left bracket decreases the size. And so to decrease the size, to get into this small area, all you have to do is press the left bracket. Now to zoom out, it did a relatively good job. Let's see it on a different background color. This is always a good idea to see how good of an outline you have. So see, it's not that very good because you can see all the colors on the outside of his head or his hair. Also, there's some sharp edges over here on his chin that we do not want. So moving on to the last one, Command Z to undo and then Command D to deselect. Something that they just recently added was the object selection tool. Now this uses some AI generative stuff, and so all you have to do is hover over the subject with this tool and then click, and then it automatically adds the marching ants around it. So let's see how well of a job the AI did. What you can do is you can add your layer mask, then let's add a rectangular tool. I can already see a problem. So what happened was, there's some whiskers right here, sharp edges, some yellow in his hair, but look, part of his hair is partially transparent. And so it kind of messes up his head, but that's all right because we have a dark background. So in short, AI is getting better and better, and it's a tool that digital and graphic designers can use to make their products better and better, even with AI still not doing the best that it can be. Well, that's all the time that we have today for Photoshop Toolbox. Hopefully you can join me next week for more in an in-depth tool for selecting, which is better than AI. See you next week.